I think Real Madrid is going to be a little bit weak defensively, lacking midfielders. Militao slightly injured. They're coming back from the international break. What's up, guys? Welcome back to it. Merengue culé. La Liga is back after 2 weeks of international break. I know we've all been itching to see Real Madrid play. Just wait till you hear the parlay that I put together. And let's go ahead and get to this pregame analysis as Real Madrid is getting ready to play Real Sociedad in Anoeta. Let's get started. Alright guys, so it's been a long 2 weeks since we've seen each other. Obviously, a lot of Real Madrid players went on to their respective countries to play different friendlies, Nations League, qualifiers, all of the above. And a lot happened during that time, so let's just do a quick recap. We actually had a couple injuries, of course, we freaking did. Tchouameni and Ferland Mendy, within a few days of getting to France for their respective games, they were called back. They went straight back to Madrid because each one of them picked up little injuries. And so that was a bad start to this international break. And then Arda during one of his Turkey games, he went out injured. Luckily, long story short, with all of those, they're all back from injury. So it almost makes me feel like it was some sort of scheme. You know, it's a little interesting what Real Madrid did there. It almost feels like they told the players, like, okay, like, say that you're injured, I don't know, something, fake some sort of pain and get away from playing with your national team because we've already had a lot of injuries and we've only played 4 games this season, 4 or 5 games this season, and we just can't afford to have any more injuries. So they went back to Madrid, they rested, they did their individual trainings, and a lot of them are supposed to be back for the Real Sociedad game, including Jude Bellingham, who's actually started training with the team. However, Ancelotti just right now went and said in his pre-match conference that both Tchouameni and Jude Bellingham will not be playing against Real Sociedad, and that was confirmed hours later as Real Madrid released their squad list for the game, in which both of those players were not there. On the bright side, Ferland Mendy and Arda Güler are good. They were called up, so we should expect to see them there. Let's jump over to the Brazilians, Endrick, Rodrigo, and VINI, that had they had 2 games with Brazil, but they were in a lot of controversy as well because Brazil's not playing really good right now. And all 3 of them were actually the starters in the game that they lost against Paraguay, which put a lot of pressure, especially on VINI, especially after he was nominated and he's the favorite for the Ballon d'Oro. People would need to be seeing him performing and scoring goals for Brazil, and I get that. Luckily for Madrid fans, for us Madrid fans, he's been performing a lot better with us than he has with Brazil. I think he's played like 30 games with Brazil already and only scored 5 goals, which for a player that's contending to win Ballon d'Oro this year are pretty bad numbers. So the morale in VINI and a lot of the Brazilians may not be the greatest, and on top of that, they're coming back with only, traveling across the world essentially, and only 1 day of training. So I'm interested to see, we'll talk about what I think will be the starting lineup, but I'm interested to see if Ancelotti will be making some rotations with the Brazilians there. He's already mentioned in the previous press conference that after international breaks, he wanted to give VINI some sort of rest. So I'm curious to see if he's going to actually implement that. And last but not least, Valverde wins Player of the Month for Real Madrid. It was deserved. When I saw the 5 nominees, I, without a doubt, thought it should be Valverde. He had a really good final against Atalanta and then a really good start to the La Liga season, scoring even a goal already. So with that being said, let's jump into what I think is going to be the starting lineup. When you look at the squad list that got called up for the game, we only have 4 midfielders. 3 of those being Modric, Valverde, and Arda Güler, with the 4th one being Chema from Castilla that's being called up. So Real Madrid is definitely lacking a little bit in that midfield department, which will definitely show, in the starting lineup. But let's just jump to that lineup that I think we're gonna have, which is gonna be Courtois. Carvajal, I think, should be the one starting at right back, but could be seeing a rotation there with Lucas Vazquez. However, I think we're going to be having rotations everywhere else in the team, and Ancelotti will want to try to minimize how many rotations he makes. Center backs, Rudiger needs to go in there, even though he had international games. Militao is one of those question marks. He also, I forgot to mention, he also was one of the ones that left Brazil injured, but they're saying that he's going to be good to go for this game, so we'll see if he actually ends up starting. But if not, our only other option is Vallejo, which makes me a little bit nervous for Real Madrid. On that left-hand side, we're going to have Mendy, in my opinion. But I wouldn't be entirely surprised if Fran Garcia gets a go-ahead, since he's had more training with the team over the past couple of weeks as opposed to Mendy, who was injured for a little bit. And then in the midfield, Modric and Valverde, with, in my opinion, I think we should be seeing Arda Güler start up as a center attacking mid. Now, when we jump up top, I personally want to see Brahim play. He scored a goal. He scored a couple of goals for Morocco during the international break, and I want to keep seeing him play a little bit more. Rodrigo's coming out with a lot of controversies lately, whether it was with the Ballon d'Oro stuff, with Brazil, or even with Madrid. So I think we just need to give him a break, let him kind of recalibrate, and then come back a little bit better, either as a super sub or just the next game. So I would personally start Brahim in the right wing position. Up top, I don't think Ancelotti's going to end up rotating VINI right now. Maybe in a future international break. So I think we're going to see VINI on the left-hand side and then Mbappe up top. They'll probably be rotating. Overall, our attack has continued to struggle, but Mbappe finally got his goal in the previous game. Let's hope he can continue that form. Hoping to see some goals there. Let's go ahead and jump on to Real Sociedad. I want to talk a little bit about them as well. Real Sociedad is really not having the best starts of their La Liga season. They've won only one game out of 4, tied one of them, and lost 2 of them, including their opener. And they really haven't played against too many great teams. I mean, Rayo Vallecano, Alaves were their 2 losses, and then they tied against Getafe 0-0. In those 4 La Liga games, they've only scored 3 goals, which goes to show that they're not having the greatest starts to their season. But I think a lot of that is explained in their transfer summer. They lost 2 of their big players, Robbie Lenormand, who went to Atletico de Madrid. We saw how good of a Euros he had as center back with Spain. And then the other one was Mikel Merino, who also had a pretty good Euros tournament with Spain, and has been having phenomenal seasons with Real Sociedad. So losing their main center back and one of their main center mids is pretty hurtful to the team. And then up top, their main players, Oyarzabal, who got a red card in not the last game, but the one before that, and so he had to miss the game against Getafe. That hurts the team. Kubo has been stepping up for them per usual, so he'll be definitely the player to watch. And then their main signing this summer was a left back from Manchester City, Sergio Gomez, who has actually had a really good start to the season, already getting an assist. So those are 2 players that I'd watch for Real Sociedad. And so historically, in my opinion, Real Madrid normally struggles when they come back from an international break. And being that we're going to be playing against Real Sociedad, who is normally a pretty good team, as much as they're not having the greatest starts to the season, they're a team that will fight. They're a team that still has a lot of talent up top and in the midfield. Subimendi, Kubo, Sadik, Oyarzabal. I mean, they still have quality players regardless of their bad start to the season. We're playing away in Anoeta, in San Sebastian. It's definitely not going to be an easy game for Real Madrid. And on top of that, Real Madrid has a huge pressure that Barcelona is first place in La Liga. They haven't been performing as well, and they've already tied 2 games. Real Madrid cannot afford to drop more points. They're already chasing Barcelona, and they have a really, really, really tough game. So it's a tough one to want to predict Madrid to win. Nonetheless, I still expect them to go out there and get the 3 points. So let's go ahead and jump to my final part of the video, which is the betting predictions for those of you that are interested. And so I will be going for the fact that there will be that both teams will score in this game. I think Real Madrid is going to be a little bit weak defensively, lacking midfielders. Militao slightly injured. They're coming back from the international break. Not a lot of trainings in their shoes, in their belt. And so I think a goal can be conceded from them. But at the same time, Real Madrid, most of the time they score a goal. So betting for both teams to score, it's a negative 120, which is almost a 1-to-1 return. It's not too bad, but that's not the bet that I'm going to be going for. It's going to be the fact that both teams will score and that Real Madrid will win, which when you put those 2 together, it's at a positive 290, which in my opinion, it's a pretty good return. You don't often see Real Madrid winning with such a good return, especially with both teams scoring. So I'm going to be putting $10 for that one with, I believe, a $29 return. And here's my crazy parlay that I mentioned earlier. It's a 5-leg parlay, which obviously you guys know that's a pretty tough one. But here it is. Real Madrid winning, both teams scoring, less than 2.5 goals in the first half. So as long as not 3 goals in the first half, then we should be fine. Then the actual score prediction for it to be 2-1. I think Real Madrid will win 2-1. And then the final one is Carvajal gets a yellow card. 5 things. I know it's tough, but if you put $2, then you get back $62. It's a positive 3,000 return. So it's just kind of a fun little bet. Are the odds of it happening high? I mean, obviously it's a really, really tough one, but it's not too crazy. Come on, guys. It's not too crazy. And for only risking $2, it almost seems like a good risk. So obviously, guys, let me know what you think down in the comments for these parlays, for the pregame analysis, for Real Madrid, for Real Sociedad. Any comments that you have, I'm going to be reading down there, responding obviously to most of you guys as long as you get those comments in early. Make sure you subscribe. We're going to have the live reactions tomorrow when Real Madrid plays against Real Sociedad. You're not going to want to miss it. Make sure you hit the like button to this video if you haven't. Turn on your notification bells. And as always, I am Madrid.